And thank you, and welcome to another episode of Tennis Volley Talk with Brian Danielson. Hey, today what I'm going to be doing is talking to Ken McCallister. He's a big the head of tennis, a lot of tennis in Texas. I've talked to him before, had an interview with him over the phone before, and today, and what we're going to kind of be covering a little bit is some of the Texas Hall of Fame museum that is in Texas, and talk a little bit how that got started, but a little bit about how Texas tennis is doing now still. And Ken, thank you for joining me on my podcast.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
It's always a pleasure being able to talk to you.
Likewise. Look forward to it.
So yeah, I was just was kind of, like I said, in talking about the tennis museum there in Texas. When did that actually start? As in the conception of how did it be thought of to, hey, let's open up a museum about tennis and get them some things here?
Yes, it happened mostly because of a man named Charlie McCleary. And for tennis fans, Charlie was one of the old-time tennis pros of the early 1900s. His heyday as a young man was in 1930s and early 40s, and he became a tennis pro in Waco, Texas, which is in the middle of Texas.
Yeah.
A town that is about the same distance from Dallas, Fort Worth, San Antonio, Austin, and Houston.
Okay.
So it becomes a centerpiece.
Oh, sure.
But Charlie and his wife, Amadale, built up a program in Waco that became well known because he kept bringing in top players from the 1930s. Some of the top players in the world would come through and play a little exhibition set or two, and that brought some attention. And so at the same time, Charlie and his wife got interested in kind of collecting things from those players and other things like that, which led into him putting together his own personal museum that people in the Waco area kind of. And at a certain point, he decided to see if he could get this designated as the Texas Tennis Museum, which finally happened in 1980.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Charlie was there, and Charlie was head of the fairly large public tennis center that had about 16 tennis courts near downtown Waco. And so right next to it was this building that collected all these things. And Charlie ran it by himself for a while. And when the Texas Tennis Association, which is the USTA, now the USTA arm of the Texas section, recognized it and developed a committee that oversaw it, it became official.
Oh, that's so wonderful.
So at that moment, 1980, it was the only freestanding tennis museum in any state in the United States.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised over that. And plus being able to have him, being able to collect and keep, and then be able to show and have the pride in showing, the like of trophies that he won or whatever it was that, that he had, or pictures, or, programs from those era of doing exhibitions with probably the likes of Pancho Gonzalez and Segura or Tilden or those guys, Rogers, any of those guys back then, Vexatious, those guys.
Exactly.
And plus being able to get, some like souvenirs, their rackets, their shoes, a shirt they had or whatever. That is just valuable in collecting and having for tennis history, really, too.
Right. And so, because a whole lot of things like Maureen Conley Brinker had moved to Texas by this stage, and then World Championship Tennis started here, Virginia Slims started here, and it became a natural place for collecting. And the owner of World Championship Tennis helped Charlie then bring in all the other sports in Texas that the Texas Sports Hall of Fame was built.
Okay.
Building up Baylor University's campus. And we opened that in 1993. And it just had a lot of, it had statewide attention, obviously. And it happened to be at the same time as the terrible shooting and catastrophe there in Waco. Unfortunately made Waco infamous.
Yeah.
Rather than famous, but it's pretty much right. That's and they we opened up that, and I was just in a meeting there Wednesday, day before yesterday, of the board of the Texas Tennis Museum and the Hall of Fame involved in.
Okay, yeah, and with that too, Lamar Hunt bringing in all the other stuff, but he was a football guy, but he must have liked tennis too, to be able to be, to bring that in and bring, the knowledge of having the tennis museum there, Texas Tennis Museum there. And then, like you said, Virginia Slims came through there, and I remember watching that in the early 70s in Virginia Slim, and the women playing, and it was just wonderful. And they were playing on clay courts, I think, back then, as far as I think, maybe some hard courts, but that was some good playing back then. Billie Jean and the Fabulous Eight that opened up the Virginia Slims and went on the pro tour for a dollar contract. And that was an epic thing for the women to start their own tour.
Exactly, and there's a display there on exactly that, along with all the other things like the Bobby Riggs Billie Jean King match and other things. It didn't help having his help putting together that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then with the World Championship Tennis, did that actually start out? Did that go, and was that started out? And when they started it, did it play at Moody Coliseum at the time, at the Texas University campus or something like that? Because I was at WCT in 76 and 78, and it was being played in the Moody Coliseum.
Right. It was played at Moody, the original one in 73, actually. Oh. Was it 73? I have to look again in my book. But I went to the original one because, but little known fact is, only the final match was played at Moody that first year, because they played the quarterfinals and semifinals in Houston.
Oh my!
And I was the head umpire for the Houston Tennis Umpires Association, and so we did the officiating for the quarterfinals and semifinals in Houston, which drew pretty good crowds. And then that final, which was internationally televised, was Coliseum, which I was given free tickets to.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And enjoy that 5-set match between Rosewall and Laver.
Yeah, Rosewall and Laver. That must have been an epic match. To have and Laver really actually being one of the premier players of that time, along with Rosewall. But everybody was favoring Laver, but somehow Rosewall, came through with it somehow.
Yeah, Rosewall was underestimated his whole life, but nevertheless, he didn't quite have the record of Laver. But if you look at the length of his career, there's hardly anyone that's ever done what Rosewall did. But the match itself was beautiful. It wasn't the big hitting type match that we see these days, but it was fun to watch.
Oh, I'm sure it was. Tidbit of history here with me too is I had a friend of mine that sent me, of all things, and how this kind of comes full circle. Growing up in Tulsa, we all went to the World Team Tennis, and that came through Tulsa. Chris Everett was playing on the team at the time, and so he actually, we kind of separated our ways from the seats we were at and kind of filtered around. He ended up getting a program, and he had people signing it, here and there. Terry Holiday, Tom Ocker, Francois Dewar back in the day, and Terry Holiday, and then Fru McMillan was there, and Tom Ocker. But those guys, I was taking pictures of. But one particular autograph that he ended up getting, of all things, and how it comes full circle, he got Bobby Riggs' autograph. I have the picture I took of Bobby Riggs looking at my camera. So kind of came full circle.
That's cool. That's cool.
It is. I mean, to actually have Bobby Riggs' autograph, to have it there. Plus, I took the picture of him looking at my camera. So it was just, he was wearing his sugar daddy coat and, walking around promoting himself. And it was just wonderful, unbelievable to be able to experience that too, with the history of those players back then also. So, a lot of pictures, different pictures. I got a picture of actually Chris Everett as well, not playing, but she was being interviewed, but you can tell who it is by the picture and stuff. But it's so wonderful to be able to have that rich history of the tennis also. And what I'm doing right now is, whenever I was at WCT, and I think this was in 76, when Vilas and Borg played the final, and I think it went 4 sets, but Bud Collins happened to be there. And right here is a picture of me and Bud Collins right there. He was very personable, and a friend of mine took it, and there Bud Collins and I are. And I got a picture of that with me and Bud Collins later on to fulfill kind of a thing when last year that I went to U.S. Open Fan Appreciation Week in New York, and actually saw Bud Collins' library that his widow gave to the West Side Tennis Club and everything. Yeah. So that was really something.
That's especially cool. My wife and I happened to have dinner with Bud and his wife back during a Hall of Fame induction at Newport, Rhode Island, and you were exactly right. What a kind person, even at a personal level, and he was so used to the attention during all that time when he worked for Boston Globe and all of that stuff. But he was still down to earth with you one-on-one.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sure, absolutely. And then along with that, I have actually, of all things, WCT right here, WCT 1976 ticket that I got into Moody Coliseum. This was the noon match, Sunday, May 9th. Of WCT in 76. So that was really cool. I have that there. And I think that, and then I had a noon session in that from 76 tickets So isn't that something that I actually have the tickets yet from '76 still amazing in itself.
Very good.
And then with that, I ended up getting a couple autographs along the way. Surprisingly enough, I got John Newcomb's autograph. I got Cliff Drysdale's autograph, Wendy Turnbull, Mark Cox, and then Marty Reeson. So that was really kind of cool that I ended up getting some autographs along the way too, which is really kind of cool in itself to be able to get some of those names. And plus being able to have rackets that some of those are endorsed on the rackets that I have too. So that's really kind of cool all the way around that I ended up getting along with that. But plus being WCT and Lamar Hunt putting that together to be able to have that museum for Texas and stuff. Now, did McClure, did he teach in high school or did he teach at a club in Waco at the time whenever he was being a teaching pro at the time?
Charlie McClure, he taught there for, 30 years, maybe more. He taught at a public center.
Oh, okay.
And most of that time, I think he started off in a private center, but he went to a public center, and that's he touched pretty much everybody, and he got the city of Waco behind him on all the stuff, which also helped make that museum go. If you get the city, your home city, behind something like that, it makes a huge difference.
Oh, yes.
And it's why it's so well known.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. And then plus, as far as that goes with Texas being so, Texas is pretty nice year round, pretty much. So people always can get out and play tennis all the time practically there. But right now, actually, I'm in the midst of reading your book, Cattle to Courts, and it's giving me some rich history of Texas and how that all began and all the realm of how it was getting put together with the committees and you can go ahead and do that. We'll start doing that and how it first started. And then, that'll be another call with you too, whenever I finish the book, and then can talk about all the little tidbits of the book that you wrote, which is really seeming to me really is catching my interest and showing the rich history of how tennis actually started in Texas.
Yeah, it was so much fun writing that book. The research took me a little bit of time, of course, but most of my life was in Texas and doing the teaching tennis in Texas from one end to the other. So it kind of fit in and made it extra fun, but I had to wait until I retired to have the time and write it.
Well, that's right too, and that's really something. But that'll probably be another realm of talking about the book and another call on Tennis Volley Talk. Remember, you YouTubers, be sure to watch Tennis Volley Talk. You're going to see Racket of the Week here coming up pretty soon. You podcasters or you YouTubers, like, subscribe, and comment. And you podcasters out there, you're going to hear about the Racket of the Week. And then if you want to take a look at it, go to the Tennis Volley Talk, my tennis channel, like, subscribe, and comment. I always like doing these interviews with people because it's really actually the more of the grassroots of how things started within tennis, which is always good to know and find out, because so many out there are just talking about the tennis tournaments. Of course, that's always good too. And then with the upcoming, and they're on their swing now in Canada, and then coming up into Cincinnati, and then off to the U.S. Open coming up here in just a couple 3 weeks. U.S. Open's going to be going.
Yep.
Are you going to attend, or are you going to just watch it?
Well, I haven't attended. I attended it for 25 straight years when I was working for the USTA, but haven't been back one time since then. The people in Texas were so kind to put a brick down with my name on it.
Oh, good.
Very nice of them. So I went for the presentation of doing that. That was fun. But there's nothing like it. If anyone's listening who hasn't been there, it doesn't even matter if you're big into tennis. It is an event. It is a special event, and it has grown so much. So always recommend going there. And it happens to bring in more money over the 3 weeks that the U.S. Open goes on there than even the Yankees bring in for their full season to the city of New York.
Yeah, there is a lot of people. And like I said, I really cherish the part that they open it up to the fans the week before, and which is really nice because then you can still get the lay of the land and then see the show courts and be able to see some of the pros hit on the pro courts and practicing and everything. And then last year I got the fan experience and made it into Arthur Ashe Stadium. And right away I saw Zverev and Djokovic practicing, Katie Boulter, and then let's see, Stefano Tsitsipas, and then Arina Sabalenka, and then Madison Keys, all practicing at Arthur Ashe Stadium. And it was just wonderful to be able to see them. Plus, then later on, I went to go see, like I said, Westside Tennis Club in Forest Hills, which was unbelievable in itself, too. And being that Forest Hills was the original site of the U.S. Open before it went to Flushing over there. But I'm sure that you saw plenty of wonderful matches during the U.S. Open. Probably some of the Connors run back when he made it in and was making the run that he did and finally got taken out by Jim Courier. But he really made a run back then.
I saw 2 or 3 of his matches during that time, and yes, you're right. That was fun. I watched the early matches of the Williams sisters when they had the big hair and were first getting on the scene and everything. Met their dad during that time, so it was a special time. Special times.
I'm sure it was to be able to see guys like that, and especially Connors with the grit that he had, and coming through and beating Patrick McEnroe in 5, Aaron Krickstein in 5, Paul Harhus with 3 lobs and overheads that he tracked down and lobbed back up, and Harhus hit it again and still then tracked it down and hit a winner down the line and was just fired the crowd up. But he was the one to do that. Connors was, and what a player Connors was over the years.
Yes, for sure.
To fire up the crowd like he does too. So with that too, as far as that here, the racket of the day I have right here, it's a Spalding racket of all things here. The sponsor on it is Fred Stolle, though, but Spalding actually started and founded in 1876 by Albert Spalding. He was a pitcher and manager of the early professional baseball team in Chicago. Of all things now, the Chicago White Stockings is what they were called back then. Not the White Sox, but the White Stockings. And then, glad they changed it there. Huh? and then the company standardized early baseballs and developed the modern baseball bat was derived from the cricket bat, but then they kind of made it, and then they that's when they made the modern baseball bat. But this Fred Stolle racket here is really kind of nice because it's white, and it has the white on the first part of the head of the racket, It has black diamonds on it. And I would say this racket's probably in and around about it's probably in the 50s or 50s to 60s, maybe early 70s that they were making it. But Fred Stolle, he was there, and the racket of the day. Then he was he was 10-8 of 38 is when he was born. And then 23, just recently, March of 2025, March 3rd is when he passed, or March 5th. But with this, it's still really a nice looking racket, power ply construction, pro flight racket, Spalding. And with that, and it's manufactured by A.G. Spalding Brothers of Belgium. So sometimes I think back then Spalding also imported rackets that were made, and then they produced them and then sold them at the factories, and then sponsored the player that was on them back then too. So Fred Stolle was playing, all of that. He was he was born in Hornsby, South Wales, and he was the father of former Australian Davis Cup player Sandon Stolle, of all things too. And he turned pro in 66. So this is right around that era of probably the 50s, in the 60s, early 70s racket is what this is. And it has a white throat on it, and it has the black kind of a diamond with a S on it for Spalding on it too. And he was a finalist in Australia in 64 and 65. Stolle was, and then the French in 65. He won in the finals in 63, 64, and 65 in Wimbledon, and then won in 66. And then the U.S. Pro at Wembley, and then French in 67. But he's pretty good player back then, and giving Newcomb and all those guys a run for their money back then also. But But if you want to take a look at it, you YouTubers, you're seeing it. But if you podcasters, you want to take a look at it, like, subscribe. And if you want to take a look at it, look at the Tennis Volley Talk. If you want to take a look at the racket I'm showing right now. So kind of learned a little bit of something about Spalding rackets now, haven't you? And then with Fred Stolle too. I mean, he was in the era around just kind of probably ahead of John Newcomb and Laver at the time, wasn't he? Or about the same time? Well, probably Laver about the same time.
I think Stolle was actually a little bit before Newcomb, just before Newcomb.
Okay.
But that group of Australians were all right about that same era. Ali was among that group, and he could play with any of them. He wasn't the best one consistently, but Emerson and Laver were definitely the ones that kind of.
No, sure, and those are the ones that stepped up, and then Rosewall in that next too, a little bit.
Rosewall was probably older than any of them.
No, sure.
That group, but they were all. Who's the coach from Australia that actually pretty much was responsible for all of those?
Oh yeah, for all of those. Oh gosh, what was it? He ran him ragged is what he did. I can't remember myself, but yeah, he ran them ragged. He got them in shape. That was all there was to it. Getting those Australian players doing that.
They were always in shape.
Oh gosh, sure. Yeah. And surprising enough, when Newcomb opened up his Texas, his ranch there in New Brunswick, he actually used to come there during the U.S. Open time, and he used to run in the Texas heat to get you, because he was used to Australia, but then he'd run in the Texas heat. So then when he went to the Australian Open, he was like, this is nothing in New York when it got hot and humid in New York.
Right.
So, yeah, and I've had the privilege. I've seen in exhibitions, I've seen Newcomb and Laver actually play before. And I've actually, seen the likes of also, Ili Nastasi and actually Vitas Gerulaitis. I had the privilege of seeing play actually in '78 in Dallas whenever he won the '78 WCT in Dallas, which was a privilege to be able to see him play. I feel that he would have been one of the better and premier sportscasters coming up if that tragedy had not happened to him in the boathouse or the pool house.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And at such a young age, I mean, he was so knowledgeable and such a good commentator already because he got it, but he was able to reel in the people also with the commentating that he did and knew the knowledge, and he was such a good commentator. That is what I miss the most about his knowledge, and that he could reel and give you the excitement and reel you in as an audience. If you didn't know anything about tennis, he would make it easy for you to understand.
Yep.
And with that, but so it's just so nice to be able to have that realm of that museum there, to have that kind of memorabilia stuff there with that museum, because that's some stuff that is long gone now, but it's so preserved, and it's so good that you guys there in Texas are preserving Texas tennis, is what it is. So that's been really, really wonderful. And then also that'll be another call with you whenever I finish your book, and I can kind of take some highlights of it and give some insights of what you thought about it at the time too. That'll be another call with you too. But today, hey, I do appreciate you being on Tennis Volley Talk today, talking about the museum and how it got started. It's wonderful how it got started. Anybody going through Texas at the time, going through and take a look at the tennis museum. It might be worth a stop for you. So everybody, Ken, I appreciate it, and I thank you very much again for talking to me on Tennis Volley Talk.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. It's been fun.
It is. It's always fun to talk anything tennis anyway, in that respect. Today I played on green clay, one of the few public courts here in Minneapolis, but I lost 6-4, 6-3, but a little bit of serving hiccups and return hiccups, but it was a pretty good match all the way around. As much as I hate losing, but I still played pretty good though.
Very good.
Yeah. So Ken, thank you again. And like I said, I'll give you a heads up, and when I finish your book, and that'll be another call, and we can call and talk about the book.
Okay.
All right. Thank you again very much, Ken.
Thanks, Brian.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So there you go. You have it with about the Tennis Hall of Fame, which was really wonderful to find out about that and how it got started, and then some of my things that I had with WCT, which was amazing in itself to actually still have 2 tickets and some autographs from some people too. So I feel privileged about that. So anybody out there this week, get out there. If it's outside weather, keep on playing, and I will talk to you next week. Have a good one.